Single mom's heartwarming apology for her son on a blind date revealed an incredible life-changing moment. Sarah had never felt more anxious. As the sun set over their cozy suburban town, she found herself pacing the small kitchen, heart pounding in her chest. Jake's blind date was tonight a sweet girl from a well-off family. She shook her head, remembering the countless nights she pulled doubles at the diner, all to provide the best for her son. Now, she feared that their hard-earned struggles would cast shadows over his budding romance. Taking a deep breath, she sat down and began to pen an apology letter. "Dear Jake," she wrote, her handwriting a bit shaky. "If you're reading this during dinner, I want you to know I'm sorry. Sorry that I can't give you the life you deserve. You deserve the world, kid." As she wrote about their late-night talks, her struggle to make ends meet, and their shared laughter over takeout dinners, tears streaked down her cheeks. It was a heartfelt acknowledgement, an attempt to shield him from the weight of their reality. Meanwhile, Jake sat at the restaurant table, sweat pooling in his palms as he read the note. His chest tightened. "Mom, please don't think that way," he murmured under his breath. Memories rushed through him like a tidal wave the nights they squeezed into their tiny living room, pushing the couch against the wall to make space for studying. The mornings spent sharing a single muffin for breakfast. All of it had made him who he was, forged in resilience and love. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That night, as both families gathered at a community charity event, tension filled the air. Sarah's heart raced as she spotted the girl's father, well-dressed and decorated with airs of superiority. It was then that a conversation spun into a fierce debate on socio-economic divides. "Success isn't just about wealth," Sarah asserted, standing firm, her voice unwavering against judgment. "It's about strength and character. I may not have money, but I have love for my son." Jake, hearing the exchange, grew braver. He realized he wouldn't let shame seep in. His pride was earned through hard work, not the scale of a bank account. With courage bubbling inside, he approached his mother and joined her, linking their arms together like a fortress against the world's harsh judgments. As they faced the confrontation head-on, a shocking revelation came to light. The girl's father revealed a connection to Sarah's past, sparking an uncertain churning in Jake's stomach. The weight of their societal judgment loomed large, threatening the beautiful bond they had built. Would they be able to navigate this upheaval together? As silence fell and unsure glances swept through the crowd, the stakes escalated, and everything they had worked for hung in the balance. The night held secrets that might change their lives forever. Even as the question lingered, would they find a way to wrestle acceptance from the jaws of judgment? The air hung thick with uncertainty. Jake's heart raced as he processed the words of the girl's father. "Don't you remember, Sarah? It's been a long time, but we certainly haven't forgotten our roots." The smirk on the man's face twisted the knife deeper. Jake looked at his mother. Her face, once so vibrant, now wore a mask of vulnerability. He could see the shift in the room, the whispers and shifting glances. The undeniable truth of their past was dragged into the present, threatening to pull them apart. "Maybe we should take a step outside," Sarah suggested, her voice shaking, but she held her ground. Jake could see the effort it took for her to stay composed. They stepped out, leaving the judgmental glares behind. The cool air hit them like a refreshing wave, but it barely calmed the turmoil inside Jake's chest. They found themselves in the parking lot, illuminated by the faint glow of streetlights. "Mom, are you okay?" he asked, worried lines creasing his brow. She folded her arms, looking down at her shoes. I thought I'd left that life behind. I didn't think it would catch up with me here. Who cares what he thinks? Jake burst out, frustration and anger swelling within him. You've done everything for me. Doesn't he have a clue about the sacrifices you've made? Sarah looked up, her eyes misty. But it matters to you, doesn't it? I just want you to have the best mom. Jake interrupted, trembling with emotion. The best isn't about money or status. It's about love. And you've given me that. More than anything. He took a step closer, grounding himself in the moment. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. Sarah paused, the weight of his words settling into her heart. She reached out, holding his shoulders, searching his face. You're right. I let myself get caught up in their game. But I want to let them pull me down. They stood together, a fortress of mutual understanding. The initial embarrassment that had burned in Jake's chest began to fade, replaced by a newfound strength. The world around them seemed less intimidating, as if they decreated their own protective bubble against judgment. Just then, the sound of laughter floated in from the event. Amidst the chatter, Jake noticed the girl from earlier walking toward them, concern written all over her face. I'm really sorry about what my dad said. I know he can be much. Jake's stomach tightened again, but he remembered his mom's message of strength. Honestly, it's not really about him. My mom and I had to deal with a lot more than people like him would ever understand. Her expression softened, a glimpse of understanding shining through her eyes. I respect that. I see how much you care for each other. And in that moment, amid uncertainties and challenges, Jake felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps relationships were not about status, but understanding and compassion. But just as that hopeful thought wrapped around him, he heard a familiar voice call his name, his best friend, Kevin, running toward him, breathless. Jake, I found something out about. Oh man, you'll want to hear this. Jake's heart dropped. He had a feeling what awaited him next might change everything again. Jake's heart raced, each beat drumming a warning in his chest. He was already processing the tension of the evening, and now Kevin's urgent words sent a new wave of anxiety crashing over him. Kevin stopped in front of them, his face flushed from running, excitement mixed liberally with worry. What is it? Jake asked, trying to keep his voice steady, even though he felt like a coil ready to snap. Kevin took a deep breath, glancing over Jake's shoulder, as if expecting someone to overhear. It's about Sarah, your mom. I heard something at the event. Something from my dad. It's about her past before you were born. Jake's stomach dropped. The last thing he wanted was more drama. What are you talking about? Okay, look, Kevin said, motioning them away from the noise of the party. You know how my family has connections in town? Well, I was talking to my cousin, who was chatting with the event organizers. Apparently, your mom used to be really involved with, well, a lot of those influential people. Like, before she met you. What do you mean? Jake felt anger seep into his voice. What are you saying? She left all that behind. It was a toxic environment. I know, Kevin said quickly, raising his hands in a placating gesture. But it's more than that. There are rumors about why she left. Something serious happened. Something that could change how you look at everything. Jake's mind whirled. What do you mean? What kind of serious? Just that her past wasn't just difficult. It was dangerous. There were threats made, even. People who didn't let her go easily. Each word felt like an ice shard sinking deeper into Jake's heart. What? How do you know this? I'm just telling you what I heard. My cousin's a busybody, but when it comes to town gossip, you know how it goes. They mentioned things about how she had to cut ties clean to keep you safe. Jake's fists tensed unintentionally, his thoughts spiraling. The very idea that there was more to Sarah's story than he'd ever been told left him reeling. He fought to keep his composure and glanced over at his mother, standing apart with the girl by the entrance with murmurs fading around them. Why didn't she tell me? Everything she has done to protect me. Why keep that hidden? I don't think she meant to hide it totally. Maybe she just thought that part of her life was over and she could start fresh. Kevin's voice softened. But man, this could change everything you thought you knew. It's like she had a life before. A whole different world. And those ties might not be cut as clean as she thought. Jake clenched his jaw, a mixture of anger and concern battering around inside. If she is still being threatened, I need to know. I have to protect her. I get that. But think about it, Jake. How would you feel if you found out everything you thought was true about your mom was a part of a bigger, darker story? What if it shatters your idea of her? Jake felt a wave of nausea wash over him. His childhood was built on a foundation of love and sacrifice. Was that foundation crumbling now? He couldn't allow that. He turned to Kevin, determination building within him. We have to talk to her. I can't let this go. She has to know that I'm here for her, no matter what. All right, but just be careful with how you approach her. You don't want to put her on edge when she has just started to recover from all that stress. As they walked back towards Sarah and the girl, a new resolve stirred inside Jake. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The truth was waiting, and he wouldn't allow fear to dictate their way. He took a deep breath, ready for the conversation that could either bring them closer together or tear them apart. As they approached, he noticed Sarah's gaze searching theirs. With a calm resolve, he reached for her hand, grounding himself. Mom, there is something we need to talk about. He felt the weight of the moment. Every heart in the parking lot seemed to still, waiting for the secrets to unfold. Would the truth strengthen their bond, or break it apart forever? Jake swallowed hard, his grip tightening around Sarah's hand. He could see the concern etched on her face, the way her smile faltered as she sensed the tension. He steeled himself, recalling Kevin's words, the implications of a past that could unravel everything they had built together. Jake? What is going on? Sarah's voice was soft, yet sharp enough to cut through the thick air. He exchanged a quick glance with Kevin, who nodded encouragingly. Mom, I just heard some things. About you. Your past. Sarah's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of fear passing through them before she quickly masked it. What do you mean? Jake hesitated, the weight of his next words heavy on his chest. I heard that there were threats made. That you might still be tied to it somehow. For a moment, silence enveloped them. The background chatter of the party faded away, replaced by the sound of his heart pounding in his ears. Finally, Sarah took a step back, her expression shifting from confusion to something deeper. Was it shame? Regret? Who told you this? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. It doesn't matter, Jake shot back, frustration bubbling to the surface. What matters is whether you're safe. Did you hide this from me? Did you think I couldn't handle the truth? Jake, she started but stumbled over her words. I just wanted to protect you. I thought it was over. I didn't want to drag you into my past. Drag me into what? He pressed, the edge of his voice sharper than he intended. It's already part of our lives, Mom. I need to know. The girl by the entrance, who had remained a silent witness, shifted uncomfortably, sensing the growing tension. Maybe there are things that should remain hidden, Sarah whispered, her gaze dropping to the ground. Things that would only hurt you. Maybe I'd rather be hurt by the truth than live a lie. What if they come back? What if it's not over? I can't just stand by and watch you shoulder this burden alone. His voice wavered, desperation creeping in. That moment, Jake saw his mother's resolve crack. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she took a shaky breath. You don't understand how dangerous this is. I thought I could start fresh, that you could live without the weight of it. Her voice trailed off, broken by the emotion swirling between them. Then help me understand, Jake urged, his heart aching for her. He squeezed her hand, grounding her, trying to bridge the distance her past had created. Talk to me, please. As she held his gaze, Jake saw a flicker of something, a flicker of hope, maybe? That the truth between them could mend what was frayed by silence. But her lips pressed together, torn between trust and fear. Jake, I didn't want to raise you with shadows. I thought our life here was enough to keep you safe, Sarah finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Suddenly, from the corner of his eye, Jake noticed Kevin shift nervously, anxiety radiating from him. It was clear this wasn't just about Sarah anymore. The shadows were looming closer, and he couldn't shake the feeling that this conversation was only the beginning. Mom, who are you protecting me from? Jake asked, dread curling in his stomach. Sarah hesitated, the weight of her silence becoming a storm around them. Jake, she faltered again, glancing over her shoulder, as if expecting someone to appear. I thought it was all behind me. I didn't want to drag you back into that world. What world? He urged, desperation bleeding into each word. As her gaze darted, Jake felt a shiver run down his spine. The unsettling shadow of their past was far from over, and the danger felt all too real. Just promise me, she finally said, her voice breaking. Promise me you'll stay safe. No matter what. And in that instant, Jake realized they were standing on the brink of something much larger. Would the truth come to light, and at what cost? The clenched fists of unease tightened around his heart, as he prepared for whatever revelation was about to unravel. Fear prickled, sending adrenaline coursing through him. What other truths lay buried in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to emerge? Jake felt the tension in the air thicken, as if they were swimming in a thick fog of unspoken words and hidden truths. His mother's eyes flickered with a mix of fear and determination, and he sensed she was weighing her options. Mom, please, he urged, desperation creeping into his voice. You can't keep this from me. Botching it will only make things worse. Her gaze dropped, the heaviness of his words weighing on her shoulders. She took a deep breath as she lifted her chin. Jake, the past is often best left buried, she whispered, though her words carried the tremor of a storm about to break. But I suppose you're old enough to deserve to know. My past, it's complicated. He felt the knot in his stomach tighten further. Tell me, please. I can handle it. She scanned the room, her eyes flicking towards the large windows that overlooked the party outside. The laughter and clinking of glasses seemed so distant now. Years ago, I was involved with people who were not good, she finally started, stumbling over each word like a child taking their first steps. People who didn't play by the same rules as everyone else. I thought it was over when I moved away, but I cut ties without really understanding the weight of those connections. Jake shook his head, processing her words. What do you mean? Are you still in danger? She grimaced, biting her lip. It's possible they might still be keeping tabs on us. What kind of danger? Panic rose in Jake's throat. Mom, we need to take this seriously. She hesitated, considering how to break it down. It's scary, Jake. They don't care about the past. They care about their own interests. I couldn't let you know because I thought I could keep you safe. By denying me the truth? The anger flared again. How could she think that lying would protect him? I'd rather know what I'm up against. I tried to control what I could, she replied, her voice low and trembling. But now, it feels like they're back to finish what they started. Kevin had stepped back, the worry etched across his face reflecting Jake's own fears. The other partygoers milled about, blissfully unaware of the battle brewing in this corner of the room. Sarah reached out and grasped Jake's shoulders, looking him squarely in the eyes. "No matter what happens, promise me you'll stay close and stay safe." The desperation in her voice sent an electric ripple through him. "I promise," he said, though he felt the weight of that promise. "But if we have to fight, I want to be a part of it. I want to stand by your side." "Jake," she started, her voice trembling. But the words got stuck, and Sarah froze, the sudden rush of faces flooding her expression. They turned to see a figure approaching them, confidence emanating from every step. A man, tall and imposing, with an air of familiarity that made Jake's blood run cold. "Sarah," he called out, a smirk playing across his lips. "It's been a long time." Jake felt the world tilt. He took a protective step in front of his mother, his heart thundering fiercely against his ribcage. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, though doubt knifed through him. The answer might crack open the door to a reality he wasn't prepared to face. "Someone who has come to collect what is owed," the man replied smoothly, his gaze shifting from Jake to Sarah, a predator sizing up its prey. In that moment, the fragile peace they had built shattered, replaced by a swirling tempest of secrets. The looming confrontation would force them to face the truth head-on, and Jake could feel an uncertainty gnawing at the corners of their newfound understanding. As the man advanced, Jake wondered if this was truly the beginning of a fight for their lives, and what other burdens from the past they would have to bear to survive. Jake's heart raced as the man continued to stride toward them, each step echoing in the suddenly quiet room. The buzz of laughter and celebration faded away, replaced by a low thrum of tension. "Stay behind me," Jake whispered to his mom, his eyes never leaving the stranger. Sarah's grip tightened on him, her nails digging slightly into his arm, as she stepped ever so slightly back. "Mark," she managed, her voice trembling at the name. "What do you want?" The man's smile widened, but it didn't reach his eyes. He surveyed the crowd for a moment before turning back, clearly enjoying the discomfort he was causing. "You know why I'm here, Sarah. You can't just walk away from our past like it never happened." Jake's mind raced, battling the urge to scream at this man to leave them alone. "Leave my mom alone," he shouted, confusion mixed with a protective anger he didn't even know he had. Mark chuckled, a sound devoid of joy. "Aren't you sweet? But this isn't about you, kid. It's about your mother's choices. Stay out of this." Jake glared, stepping further in front of Sarah. He would do anything to shield her, to protect this fragile bond they had just begun to build. But as he stood there, he felt the weight of his new reality pressing down on him, and it gnawed at him, raising questions he wasn't ready to ask. "Choices have consequences," Mark continued, undaunted, his tone icy. "She hasn't paid what she owes, and I'm here to collect." With every word, Jake felt the air grow thicker, the room closing in. His mother's face was a mixture of fear and determination. He could see her resolve wavering, and it made something inside him break a little. "What do you want?" she finally asked, her voice steadying. "I thought we were done." "Oh, we're far from done, Sarah. It's time to settle old debts. There are people who don't forget." He took another step closer, his stance shifting from predator to executioner. "And I'm here to remind you of that." Jake could see the fear creeping back into her eyes. It twisted his gut. This man had no right to take their peace like this. "We can just call the police," he blurted out, unsure if that would even help. Mark laughed again, shaking his head as he took a casual glance around the room. "You think they could protect you? You think your mother's poor choice in friends has gone unnoticed?" Sarah's breath caught in her throat. "No, Mark. You're out of your mind. I wouldn't let you threaten us. That's rich coming from you, isn't it?" he replied, a smirk curling his lips. "You thought you could just erase us from your life? That you could build a new one without paying the price?" Jake felt a surge of fury rise up. Get away from her. His voice cracked, but he pressed forward. You won against us. Mark's gaze turned cold. This isn't a game, kid. It's a reality check. And that's something you're not ready for. As he took another menacing step forward, Jake felt his heart pounding faster, pounding against his ribcage, like a caged beast wanting to break free. Desperation clawed at him. He had to think of something, anything to protect his mom. Just go. We don't want anything from you, he shouted, his voice shaking but strong. Leave us alone. Mark laughed, then glanced back at Sarah. This isn't over. You know it, and I know it. You'll have to face this sooner or later. With that, he turned on his heel and began to walk away, leaving tension hanging thick in the air between them. Jake felt his mother's hand tremble on his shoulder, her silent fear wrapping around both of them like an iron grip. What do we do now? He breathed, feeling the ground shift beneath him. Sarah's face was a mix of resolve and fear, the brave facade cracking slightly. We fight, Jake. Together. But as she spoke, doubt crept into Jake's mind. What if they weren't strong enough? What if the past was too dangerous to fight? Would there come a moment when their hands were too tied, and choices were forced upon them? As they stood there together, uncertainty weighing heavily on them, a thought lingered in Jake's mind. How much would they both have to sacrifice to reclaim their peace? The night outside carried on, oblivious to the turmoil within, and Jake realized their battle had only just begun, with answers hiding in the shadows of their past. Jake felt the silence after Mark's departure like a heavy cloak. The party around them resumed slowly, laughter and chatter cautiously returning, but the joy was hollow now. He could sense the judgment in the glances thrown their way. Jake pulled his mother closer, wishing he could shield them both from the weight of other people's eyes, from his own heart's panic. Mom, he started, but her gaze was distant, staring through the crowd instead of at him. Jake, she interrupted, her voice barely above a whisper, and he could see a storm of emotions brewing behind her eyes: fear, regret, guilt. I didn't want you involved in this. I swear. You deserve better. His heart ached at her words. I don't care about what happened in the past. I just want you to be okay. But her shoulders slumped under an unseen weight. It's not that simple. Jake wanted to argue, wanted to tell her that they could face this together, but his words tangled in his throat like a wire knot, heavy and suffocating. Maybe we should get out of here, he suggested. The party, which had once pulsed with laughter and connection, now felt like a cage. As they stepped out into the cool night air, the outside world's normalcy wrapped around him like a reassuring hug. Do you think he'll come back? She asked as they walked toward the car. Jake shook his head, determination coursing through him. We won't let him. But uncertainty lingered. How could they fight someone with such a deep grip on their past? What did he mean about debts? Is there something I'm missing? Sarah stopped abruptly and turned to face him, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I made mistakes, Jake. I didn't want to let you down. Everyone makes mistakes, he replied, desperation tinging his voice. But that doesn't mean we can't move forward. Her gaze softened, and for the first time that evening, Jake saw some of that resolve return. You're right. But we have to address this. I need to find out why Mark is back, and who else might be after me. Suddenly, clarity struck Jake. We could look into it, he said, the idea blossoming in his mind. Research him. Talk to someone who might know. We can do this together. But Jake, she began, but he interrupted her. No buts. Think of it this way. We gather information first, then decide the next step. We'll do this as a team. I'm not a kid anymore. I want to help. A small smile broke through Sarah's anxious facade, illuminating her face, like sunlight breaking through clouds. You really are becoming a strong man. Jake felt a flicker of pride ignite in him. I'm just doing what needs to be done." As they settled into the car, the weight in his chest eased slightly. Maybe they could face whatever lay ahead together. But just as Jake started the engine, his phone buzzed in his pocket, jolting him from his thoughts. When he pulled it out, a text from an unknown number lit up the screen. "You made a mistake. I'll be in touch soon." The blood drained from Jake's face. Everything felt like a dark ocean, threatening to pull them under. "Mom!" he whispered, fear creeping back into his voice. As Sarah turned to see his pale face, apprehension filled the air again. What darkness awaited them around the corner? Would facing the truth lead to their freedom, or deepen the shadows that followed? They were not just fighting for peace anymore. They were fighting for survival. Jake's heart raced as he stared at the screen. The unknown number felt like a threat, its words slithering through his thoughts. "You made a mistake. I'll be in touch soon." That simple sentence tasted bitter, like vinegar on his tongue. "Who is it?" Sarah leaned closer, her voice shaking slightly. I don't know." Jake's grip on the steering wheel tightened. "But it doesn't feel good." In the silence that enveloped them, Sarah took a deep breath. "We'll deal with this together." A renewed sense of resolve filled her voice, but Jake could still see the worry etched on her face. He drove in the direction of home, thoughts racing. Maybe they could drop it all, go silent, and pretend nothing happened. But the weight of Mark's sudden return still hung heavy in the air between them. Would the threats ever stop? "Mom," Jake said, navigating the car through the familiar streets, "was there really nothing I should know about Mark? Did he hurt you?" A heavy pause filled the car, and Jake could see the tension on her face again. "It's complicated." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "There are things from my past that I wish I could erase. Mark was an influence I didn't foresee. I never wanted you to get involved. But we can't run from it now." Jake flinched, feeling the familiar ache of helplessness creep into his chest. "Maybe we don't have to run. If we know the truth, we can confront it. Just tell me everything." As they reached their driveway, Sarah turned to face him fully, her gaze piercing and fierce. "You need to promise me something, Jake. Anything. If it gets dangerous, if Mark or anyone else comes after us, you need to stay away from it. Promise me. Like you said, this isn't just your battle." His voice cracked with conviction. "If we're in this, we're in it together. No promises." Sarah looked down, her fingers brushing against the passenger seat as if searching for strength. After a long moment, she finally sighed. "You're so much braver than I was at your age. Maybe if I'd had someone like you, things would have been different." Jake shrugged, feeling a mix of pride and frustration. "Let us not dwell on that. Please? We have a fight ahead of us." As they exited the car, Jake's phone buzzed again, shattering the fragile sense of unity they had just begun to build. The screen displayed another message from the unknown number. "I suggest you watch your back." His stomach twisted into knots. What do we do? Do we call the cops? Should we even tell them? Sarah's eyes darkened, her mind churning. No. Not yet. I need some time to think. Maybe we can find out who's behind this first. The weight of her words settled over them as they stepped inside. The familiar warmth of their home felt strange now, a sanctuary turned prison. Jake? Sarah's voice had lost some confidence. What if we can't figure this out? The fear in her eyes mirrored his own. We will. I promise. But as the door clicked shut behind them, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were already too deep in a game they didn't fully understand. Inside, Jake wondered if they were indeed staring into an abyss that had no bottom. A sudden chill coursed through him. He would find a way to keep his mother safe, whatever it took. Yet even as he tried to reassure her, the gnawing sensation of dread lingered. Who was this unseen enemy? And what else would they have to face before the truth finally clawed its way to the surface? As night deepened, shadows clung to every corner of Jake and Sarah's home. The once cozy kitchen felt foreign, the walls whispering secrets he couldn't quite grasp. Jake paced the floor, his thoughts racing. He couldn't shake the unease brought on by those taunting messages. Spinning in circles, his mind zeroed in on the figure of Mark looming large in their lives. "Jake?" Sarah's voice was cautious, drifting from the living room. Jake paused. "Yeah. Can we talk?" The simple request felt heavier than before. He slid into the living room, where dim light illuminated Sarah's tense features. She looked smaller somehow, like the walls of the room were inching in on her. "I was thinking about Mark," she began, her hands wringing together. "He has to be behind the messages," Jake replied, frustration tangling in his words. "Doesn't he?" Her gaze dropped to the floor. "I wish I could say otherwise, but I would bet my life on it. Why is he doing this? What does he want?" Jake's voice cracked, anxiety swirling like a storm inside him. "Control," she said softly. "That's what Mark always wanted. He wants to remind me, and now us, that he is still here, still in charge. It's a game to him. But we can't just let him play with us. We have to fight back." Jake's voice held a quiet fire, a determination that burned brightly among his fears. "No, honey, you don't understand. It's not just about us anymore. It's about keeping you safe." Her eyes flashed with anger tinged by genuine concern. "Mark will go to any lengths. Avoiding confrontation might just keep you out of his crosshairs." A silence fell between them, thick with tension and unspoken worry. Jake felt his heart leap. "But we can't let him win. Isn't that what he wants? For us to back down?" She bit her lip, and for a second, Jake could see the vulnerability buried deep beneath her strength. "I lost everything fighting him once before," she whispered. "I can't do that again." Her admission hit him hard. "So then, what? We just sit and wait for him to make another move?" Sarah shot up from the couch, her eyes ablaze. "I'm trying to protect you. I can't bear to lose you too. I'm practically an adult. I can handle this." He responded defiantly, anger sparking within him. "But what if you can't?" Her voice cracked, and suddenly the room felt too small, too dark. The weight of her fear hung between them, thick and suffocating. Jake stepped closer, finding the courage to voice what he dreaded. "Maybe fighting is a part of protecting each other. We have to face him. Together." For a moment, they stood locked in a battle of wills. Then, the tension deflated. Sarah's eyes softened, and she reached out to touch his arm. "Maybe you're right. But who can we trust?" Jake's mind raced back to a fleeting conversation he had with an old friend who had ties in law enforcement. "There might be someone we can talk to," he said slowly, careful with his words. "Someone who can help." Sarah's brow furrowed. "You mean the cops?" "More like someone who knows all the ins and outs without making it a police matter. It could help us figure out the truth without drawing attention." "Jake, are you sure?" She searched his eyes for assurance. "Yeah. We can't keep going like this. What if he tries to escalate things?" He saw the flicker of hope in her eyes, but also the lingering worry. "Okay," she finally conceded, determination firming her voice. "Let us do it." As they made preparations for this new plan, Jake couldn't shake the feeling coursing through him. A mix of fear and anticipation painted his thoughts. This was just the beginning of an endless maze they were about to navigate. "Just promise me," Jake said, his voice steady. "Whatever happens, we stay together." With a small, tight smile, Sarah nodded. "Always." The atmosphere buzzed with a newfound sense of purpose, albeit shadowed by the danger looming ahead. But as Jake lay wide awake that night, the chill returned. Would this path lead to an answer or deeper trouble? And were they truly ready for the depth of darkness that laid ahead? The morning sun filtered through the curtains, bright and hopeful. Sarah stood at the kitchen counter, her hands wrapped around a warm mug of coffee. The familiar aroma filled the air, but it felt tainted today. She watched Jake as he paced, anxiety etched on his face. "Mom, I just keep thinking, what if Mark comes after us harder now?" he said, breaking the silence. Sarah felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. "We'll be ready, Jake. We're not in this alone." She motioned to a stack of papers on the table. "First thing is to gather what we know. We need to be prepared." Jake nodded, determination flickering in his eyes. They spent the morning sifting through old records and gathering intel on Mark phone numbers, connections, any thread they could pull to unravel the web he'd spun. With every little detail, Sarah felt a surge of pride for the young man Jake had become. Hours later, Sarah felt a newfound confidence fill the room. "We'll head to that contact of yours." We faced Mark together, side by side. As they drove, silence wrapped around them like a warm blanket. The car moved smoothly along the suburban streets, but the tension simmered just beneath the surface. Jake finally broke the quiet, his voice steady. "You know, no matter what happens, I'm proud of you. You've always been my rock." Tears pricked in Sarah's eyes as she turned toward him, touched by his words. "And you've always been mine. I want you to remember that whatever Mark throws our way, you're not alone. Don't ever doubt your strength." When they pulled up to the cafe where they planned to meet Jake's contact, a lump formed in Sarah's throat. The cafe was a small, unassuming place, but she felt like they were headed into a lion's den. Inside, they spotted a man in a sharp suit, a stark contrast to the casual crowd. Jake nudged his mom, and they moved forward, hearts pounding in tandem. "Jake, you made it." The man flashed a friendly smile. "This is the person I was telling you about, Sarah?" "Yes, this is my mom, Sarah." The man's expression shifted as he extended his hand to shake hers. "Nice to meet you," Sarah said, trying to sound composed. "I've heard about you." "You're tougher than you look," he remarked, his eyes twinkling with understanding. "We have to arm ourselves with the truth. Mark is slippery." Jake leaned in. "What do we need to know?" "First, Mark has connections. Dangerous ones. He is backed by people who don't take kindly to loose ends. The moment you cut ties, they want to test you to see if you'll fear the ghosts of your past. Is there a way to deal with it?" Sarah's voice trembled as she spoke. "There's always a way," he replied, leaning back against his chair. "We need to play this smart. Gathering information is key. And I can provide some protection too." As they discussed strategies, Jake felt a surge of hope. The fear wouldn't drown them. They could take back control. Yet he could never shake the thought of what lay ahead. Would their efforts be enough? Back in the car, Jake turned toward his mom. "You did good today." "I couldn't have done it without you," Sarah said, smiling through the uncertainty. Suddenly Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket. Tension re-entered. He pulled it out to see another message from the unknown number. "You're playing a dangerous game. Be careful." Jake's stomach knotted again. What does this mean? Are they watching us? Sarah tightened her grip on the wheel, taking a deep breath. Let us not spiral. We've got a plan, and we need to stick to it. As they pulled back into their driveway, Jake felt a sense of clarity settle over him. Mom, no matter what happens next, we'll face it together. No backing down. Together, Sarah echoed, a smile breaking through the fog of fear. The sun dipped below the horizon as they stepped inside their home, ready to fight not just for their present, but for their future. They had been through too much. They wouldn't surrender to shadows now. A sense of warmth enveloped them. Perhaps this moment in time would define their journey, their courage, love, and commitment to one another. The kitchen felt alive with purpose their past wouldn't dictate their future. They were a team, locking arms for whatever came next. This was their time to rise. As the sun set, leaving the world in twilight, Sarah and Jake stood resolute, two hearts, one strong bond, prepared to face the unknown ahead. The darkness wouldn't last forever, and dawn would emerge. Together, they would write a new story, one filled with truth, strength, and, above all, love. Now is the moment to take action, friends. You need to subscribe now and be part of our journey. Leave a like now to show your support and help us reach more people who need these uplifting stories. Comment below your feelings about this incredible conclusion, and share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to dive into our amazing community. Together, we can craft new tales filled with hope and resilience.